His blessed lineage, his Shajara Sharif, is that he is the Sayyid Ahmad Mashur bin Taha bin Ali bin Abdullah bin Taha bin Abdullah bin Taha bin Umar, who was the brother of Imam al-Haddad, bin Alawi bin Muhammad bin Ahmad bin Abdullah bin Muhammad bin Alawi bin Ahmad bin Abu Bakr bin Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Abdullah bin Muhammad bin Alawi bin Ahmad bin Abu Bakr bin Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Abdullah bin Al-Faqih Ahmad bin Abdurrahman bin Alawi, who was the uncle of Sayyidina Faqih al-Muqaddam, bin Muhammad Sah Mirbat bin Adi Khali Qasam bin Alawi bin Muhammad bin Alawi bin Ubaidullah bin Al-Mahaji Ilallah Ahmad bin Isa bin Muhammad al-Naqib bin Ali al-Uraydi bin Jafar al-Sadiq bin Muhammad al-Baqir bin Imam Ali Zain al-Abidin bin Imam Hussein bin Sayyidina al-Imam Ali bin Abi Talib wa Sayyidah Fatima Zahra radiyallahu anha bint Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi sahbihi wa sallam. As an infant, his mother would recite the Quran to him as she gave him milk, infusing the light of the Quran as his nourishment. Once the Sayyidah heard of the presence of the Qutb of that time, Habib Ahmad bin Hassan al-Attas radiyallahu anhu in Kaidun. So she sent a young son who was at that time around 7 years of age to pray behind him. And Habib often would recall this even in later years, and he would comment on the impact that Habib Ahmad bin Hassan al-Attas had made upon him. He had heard, when he joined him for Fajr, he had heard him recite Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Fajr in the first rak'ah, and in the second, Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Layl. And it has been commented by a wali of that time that this meeting was not a chance encounter, but rather it was a transmission of inheritance between the current carrier of the secrets, who was Habib Ahmad bin Hassan al-Attas radiyallahu anhu of the Ahlul Bayt, to the next inheritor, Habib Ahmad Mashur Haddad radiyallahu anhu. A point of benefit from Habib Ahmad bin Hassan radiyallahu anhu, he says that a person carries only two things: his effort, his himmah, and his intention, his niyyah. One's body and limbs are merely the followers of these two characteristics. Just like a ship in the ocean, nothing carries it along except the wind and its sails. The wind, therefore, is like a person's effort, and his sails are like his intentions. He further mentions that a person has in one day 24,000 breaths, and for every hour 1,000 breaths. Therefore, if he intends to obey Allah with each of these breaths, then all his actions become righteous. And if he intends to disobey Allah with those breaths, then all of his actions become corrupt. After this event, when Habib Ahmad Mashur radiyallahu anhu was of the right age, Sayyidah Safiya radiyallahu anha, she enrolled him in the Ribat in Tarim and placed him under the tutelage of the two great Imams, her blessed noble brothers Habib Abdullah and Habib Alawi, the two sons of Habib Tahir bin Abdullah al-Haddad radiyallahu anhu. And it was there that he studied from the great scholars of that time. Habib therefore received a thorough grounding in all of the sciences of the Sharia and the illumination of the Haqiqah at a very young age. His time was spent in either acquiring knowledge or in worship, never resting or pausing, but continually exerting the greatest effort in all affairs of goodness. Habib was born in the rank of Wilayah, yet despite this, in his acquisition of knowledge, in his mujahidah, and in the time he spent in contemplation and ibadah, he was a rarity amongst his peers. His actions and states would remind others of the Salaf. Days spent in fasting, nights spent in ibadah, every movement a reflection of the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In later life, he would advise others towards moderation, counseling them to perform only what they could, but to be persistent. But in relation to himself, he would sacrifice the whole of his life, his death, his flesh and blood for Allah.